All right, let's see here. All right, so I've already started some Dimensius planning. Let's see. Let's go through some. Let's go with what we started with, and then we'll continue on. So what we've got so far. So to start the fight, a lot of people think that you'll split the room into two groups, the reason why some people think that you could be stacking middle first as a group to deal with the first devour, then split into two teams, is this whole part in the journal that says Dimensius attempts to devour players almost immediately. And again, every time he reaches 100 energy, his growing hunger increases with each cast, pushing the player's collective gravity to its limits. So, I mean, almost immediately sounds very, very soon into the fight. So I would think, I don't think you're going to get two rotations of your tank abilities to get collective gravity. So I do think that you will probably start in the middle, and then you might have to break out into groups after that. As after he devours, he'll reset the floor or the field. So, and just a reminder, tank gets a group soak, and then they spawn living mass ads, and you'll DPS these downs. They drop excess mass. You'll assign players to pick them up, most likely your most mobile classes and your range classes. Excess mass players within 3 yards create a gravity field. So when they create that gravity field, then they will players are able to stand in it. They'll get collective gravity stacks higher on themselves, and as long as their collective gravity is higher than the boss's devour, then it should be able to counteract that mechanic, and you won't get one shot. And that's what I said right basically here. If you need 4 stacks of gravity, um, let's see here. If we need 4 stacks of gravity, we'll need 4 people with excess mass to also be. Yeah, so depending on, I'm guessing there's going to be quite a few. I wonder if, like, when it drops the excess mass, I wonder if there's going to be like 10 or something like that. Because it wouldn't matter if 10 people had, like, if there was 10 debuffs that spawned or a ton, it wouldn't matter because you still need to have a partner to create the excess. So, you just picking up a living or a mass wouldn't really matter. It would just be what's the coordination on getting the group to be there, I guess. But then that's where it's like, okay, he's got 2 devour stacks, 3 devour stacks, 4 devour stacks. If we need then 5 gravity stacks, or if he has 3 devour stacks and we need 4 stacks of gravity, we would need 4 people with excess mass to also be in the gravity field with us. So, at the start, if he's got 0 devour stacks, most likely because he hasn't cast it yet, you'd only need 1 gravity stack. So as long as you make a field, everybody would be able to just pop in, get 1 stack, and it would be fine. But then afterwards, you're going to continue to need, well, even the second set wouldn't matter more than 2 people probably. 2 people making a gravity field should give you 2 stacks of the debuff. So, yeah. Then the third Devour cast. It also depends on the pace that this happens. I can't imagine. I don't know. It's gonna be difficult to. Is this phase gonna last for 3 minutes, 4 minutes? I think intermission is gonna take a while. You're looking at a 10, 11. That's where this phase is only about 2 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes. It's as fast as you can DPS down to 0, I guess, but still don't think you less than phase 1. Um, they are targeted with dark matter debuff. They'll simply run out to the back of the room, and then Shattered Space creates antimatter zones that need to be soaked by 3 to 4 players. Soak is considered with being within 10 yards of the antimatter space. It's not like running into it or standing in a puddle, so you just want to make sure you're close to it. If not soaked, then the raid will wipe. So these ones here, you'll just assign players and just make sure we spot heal them. Reverse gravity throws players in the air, and then the people with the living matter, they stand underneath the person and basically suck them back to the ground. So I'm pretty sure, let me just double check the abilities. I think that was pretty much all of phase 1. I don't think the Fist of the Void Lord is anything important. Yeah, just because I don't think that you're gonna most likely. The tank's probably never gonna leave 15-yard range, or shouldn't at least. Obviously, I mean otherwise this mechanic, but um, I don't think it's something you need to think about or anything like that. This is also probably a massive smash. It's just a taunt swap. Physical damage taken by 100%. It's interesting to think, what type of damage type it is. It's physical, so I have a feeling like this is gonna absolutely wreck tanks, but we'll have to see. 15.6 million damage, his autos in general, and like in Mythic too. Like obviously you're thinking here, 25 million. That's not that much, honestly, though. But okay, yeah, I think that's stage one. Let's just read what happens here. When Dimensius, we've gotten here, reaches 100 energy. So it's just that rinse and repeat until you deplete them down to 0. So you could probably add that as a slide, honestly. Yeah, we'll just put repeat this. Oops. Oh yeah, that's good. Repeat this cycle. Repeat these mechanics until boss reaches 0%. Forfeit intermission. Okay. When Dimensius is held as depleted, he pulls players into the Dark Heart. I think the Dark Heart, I think you can, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, it feels like that's the Dark Heart, but I'm probably wrong. It looks like the disc, but Dimensius is too big, so. And I think we can even look at the raid. I don't know if this was here before. I don't remember looking at this. That's pretty cool, actually. Okay. What's interesting is I think you can see it from here, can't you? The forge. Yeah, I think this is Dimensius' room right here. And then yeah, you go here, side boss, and then you go to eventually make your way to Forge Weaver. Yep. Waste of Karash, 2 bosses, the Shadow Docks. And somehow this takes us to we fly over. So he gets pulled into Dark Heart. We finish the fight in the Dark Heart. It's interesting. That's the final. So we finish Devourer's Heart. Okay. So you finish the fight. These are probably your 2 planets that you go to. Yeah. Okay. So this is where you have to fly. It's definitely gonna be like Tindril. It's definitely gonna be like Tindril. Tindril. Oh no, sorry, I need map. Show map. Yeah, it's gonna be just like Tindril. Fly to different ones. Of course, yeah, I mean that's what everybody says, but it's just like looking at that picture. I don't even know where I am anymore. My map's lost. Looking at that picture. So you go into the Dark Heart. Yeah, that looks just like Tindril basically. Wonder where you start though. Interesting. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I almost feel like this is Raid Plans Messina. One extra set, like would be this, it'd be the Dark Heart. Sucks them into the Dark Heart, and then you need to fly to your different spots. I think the big question here is, are you gonna do split groups or not? That's what needs to be figured out. I don't know. That's a tough question. All normal stuff here. Intermission is just flying to Tindril, so we'll put that in the raid plan. We'll do a plus, and then we'll change the intermission. Tindril, like flying. Tendril like flying to different platforms. Okay, let's figure out here anything important. So, I mean, it's all just Tendril basic right there. Okay, so, and that's interesting. So is he in the middle of the dark heart where it shows? Okay, simple. So just dodge the worlds. This is kind of be like the flames, I guess, on Tendril. Basically the same thing. That'll be so cool to see. It's gonna be really interesting. Black hole. I mean, this whole phase sounds like it's gonna be just awesome to see. I mean, black holes dying when a star dies. So there must be almost a whole only a set of stellar cores. Okay, so that's important to know for intermission. Tinder like flying to different platforms. Collect stellar cores to damage Void Lords on landing. 5% of Void Lords maximum. Most likely a set amount of cores similar to Tindra. Tindra obviously gave a damage buff, but this would just be each person gets a set, and then it's just like you get three of the debuff on you, you'll do 15%. Concentrated stellar energy that can be collected by flying players, allowing them to launch a shooting star at the nearest Void Lord when they land. So it's also just making sure that when you land. Okay. Alright, so Gamma Burst is important. This is probably like, this would be, okay, so Extinction. Okay, so let's do this. There's going to be two important things for sure in the intermission. Okay, so let's do phase 2. Land on planets. Two planets to land on. May split groups. May stay grouped. I'll just say may split groups. Similar to Raz. Being on platforms. And then Gamma Burst. Dimensius will push players away. Most likely want to play towards the middle of the platforms. So I'd say whatever the mechanics might be, which we'll figure out here in a minute, I think you're going to want to probably play towards the middle. So if he pushes you away, could even be, or you may need to be on, you might need to be like on one whole side. So like if Dimensius is over here, you might have to be topside in order to get pushed this way. Whereas if you're in the middle, you're still going to get pushed off. So It might be finding Dimensius where he is and running to that side to be on Dimensius. Is pushing. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, 2 important mechanics are done. Okay. Dimensius releases his conquered rivals to halt the player's advance. The Void Lord begins a ritual to seal the world soul fragment within the veiled impregnable darkness. Upon completion of the ritual, the fragment becomes inaccessible. Upon reaching 100, it completes the ritual. Just a white mechanic, most likely. Don't know exactly. Is he sitting in the middle, channeling into it? If we're looking at the, if you're looking at the, when you look at the Dark Heart, if the Dark Heart's here, is he channeling into it or something? Doubtful, but it says he's starting a ritual, so. I can close all of these. Close, yep. Nothing major here. Okay. The Void Lord begins a ritual to seal the world soul fragment within a veil of impenetrable darkness. Upon completion, the ritual, the fragment becomes inaccessible. Upon reaching 100 energy, the Void Lord completes the ritual instantly. Okay. So you have 2 of them. Touch of Oblivion, I think this is 15 stacks, yeah. I think wording is always very important. Successful melee attacks. Apply Touch of Oblivion. I think you split. I think you're going to split. This, upon reaching 15, it's melee attack, so both of them have it. It just doesn't feel like a 15 successful hits. That does not seem like very much. You could say the average boss hits every 3 seconds. Maybe more, maybe less. It'll probably less, probably closer to 2. This would give you 30 seconds to do the intermission. It also inflicts 5 million shadow damage. I just feel like successful melee attack. So is this going to be something like, Gallywix? You can, the mud trinket can stop ego checks. So what does it say for ego checks? So on mythic here. It doesn't say anything that gives us knowledge, but why does Ringing Ritual of Mud completely negate the stacks, right? It's because you don't actually take anything. Actually, 75% of the unmitigated damage is inflicted as a checked ego. So you drop your stacks because you didn't actually take any damage. It's 100%. So oh, that's mythic, sorry. 10 applications. I just feel like you're going to have a way to get rid of this. You got 10 seconds. Is it going to be kiting? Let's see what else they cast. Let's see here. So Artotion ejects superheated mass at random players after 5 seconds. Inflicting 7 million cosmic damage to all players in its path, knocking back and leaving behind debris field. The Void Lord's power spell leaves it behind a cosmic debris that inflicts 2.8 million cosmic damage every second. Okay, so, reduces their movement speed. I wonder if you use this. Do both of them do debris fields? Mass. My guess is you'd probably use the debris fields. Maybe not though. Reduce their movement speed by 70%. Is this like supposed to like hold you? Oh, that's a lot of damage though. 2.8 million. When he's already casting this? Maybe not. He's already casting. Oh, let's get out of Mythic real quick. How much damage does it do? 1.5 million damage every 1 second to all players. Okay. And then 1 million. So you'd be taking 2.5 million damage for 4 seconds. That's half your health. It's a little bit over half your health pool. Unmitigated, anything unmitigated as a normal DPS player. So he's going to cast Gamma Burst. You could be using these debris fields to hold you down. But if it's only in Heroic and Normal, or Heroic and Mythic, I would have to assume you don't need it for normal. So obviously, unless the push is harder, and the push could be harder. Okay. Conqueror's Cross, and then you have, they both do Conqueror's Cross? Alright, that's fine. Okay. So, ejects a superheated mass at players. Let's do this. Okay. Okay, let's do, and phase 2, we'll do phase 2, Artotion. Artotion. Alright. Let's just write down what he does. Mass ejection. Dodge frontal. You probably want to tank him on the edge. Where's our boy? Ardo. Tank on edge of room. I feel like Dimensius will be like, he's going to spawn on a side. He's going to spawn on a side or something like that. And he's going to be like, you know, like trying to push the wind this way. And so if you tank him on this side, I mean, unless these are meant to be fast intermissions, it could be that. And this could be just the lust angle too. Lust in the intermission just to get it over with. Because as soon as they're both dead, they're gone. Maybe not that much of the edge of the room, but you want to have like a rotation. So you wouldn't want to be on the far, you want to be more centralized. Maybe like something like this. That way like you're pointing, you know, you're pointing the beams. And it's probably pretty big, honestly. It's probably something like that. Dodge frontal. Leaves area denial. Circles. Hard to tell if it's circles. Leaves area denial after frontal. Actually, maybe he's in the, so it's on players, so it's not the tank. So it could be this. Let's do this. So it could be he's towards the middle. And yeah, I think this would probably be it. Tank in middle with players towards outside. leaves area denial after frontal. Continue to rotate around the room. This still has me. I think you'll split. I think you will split. That just seems weird. Okay, the focus is a phalanx of Void Wardens to secure his territory and restrict player movement. Okay. So we have a Void Warden. Okay, let's think here. Exerts control over the area around it, knocking back players who enter it and inflicting. So this almost feels like, I know some people have said this seems like Shadow Moon Burial Ground, even the second boss in this raid where you have like a wall that's like constricting. It just would be whether you can damage them or not. I think more of this fight. The Coven of Shrava, what did it say here? Was this the Torment? Which one was it? It was one of these mechanics. So these were the flames. It's not this guy. I think it was Spectral Army of Yeah, it was this one. An army of arcane visages manifests from Norganon's torment. Each inflicts 13k arcane damage every 0.3 seconds to nearby players. So this was a mechanic where you were in this large room. You were in this large room for this fight. Oh my gosh. Upper deck. Lower deck. Cool. Chamber of Anguish. This is very Mathras. Okay. The Coven here, what would happen was basically an ad would spawn here, 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 here. It'd be lines of 4. And so you're tanking in the middle, and 4 ads would all spawn here, and then you would just have to CC them to give yourself a path. So they would put down like banish on this one, let's say. So they would banish this one. That way these would continue to walk forward, and you would then have a path to get around, basically. I know my drawing's very bad, but that was that fight, basically. I wonder... It could be exactly the same thing. Maybe you don't damage them. I mean, knocking back players who entered, that's what happens on that one was the same mechanic, is that you would get knocked back. And then you just basically take a nasty dot. It could be that, looking at the raid plan, they, spawn in here. And you also have area denial, so you have like less room of going somewhere. So you got to really, if the wall was right here or something, if there was one wall right here of ads or whatever, it might be as simple as hit the middle ad here while dealing with this, and then get around the middle ad. But you also have this wall over here coming this way, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But it also could just be kill one. Okay, so that's this. I'll put those down in the notes, but I want to see here. So the Conqueror's Cross, they both do it on the same side. Okay. Let's just make sure it's the same mechanics and everything. Void Warden. Yep. Yep. I think at the same time, when you're thinking about the length of this fight, I mean, it looks like phase one could be decently, you know, a couple, 2, 3, 4 minutes. You gotta fly. Flying was about 50 seconds on Tindril. If you're flying between two different platforms, that's 2 minutes of flying. How long are these intermissions gonna take? Now you're already up to 6 minutes. The intermissions take, maybe it's quick. Maybe it only takes a minute. I mean, if you're splitting and you only, that's your soft and rage, is this portion of the tank mechanic. You know, some tanks would probably be able to kite this and reset, but Blizzard's not going to design that for that. They're not going to design to with that in mind. They're definitely not. So, are both sides the same? So, Touch of Oblivion. Get down that. Okay, so the one does the frontal, the other does Stardust Nova. I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing, except for, you know, one side. Yeah. Oh, let's read the extinction again real quick. Extinction. Yeah. Dodge planet. I'm just gonna put Dodge planet. And then we'll just say that you may split groups. Tank in the middle with the players. Okay. Conqueror's Cross. Conqueror's Cross. Spawns. What does it even say in there? Phalanx of Void Warden secures surgery and restrict player movement. There's my answer. Upon death, the Void Wardens, so this one to be similar to Normagons, but it'll be a wall for sure. The Void Warden energy is absorbed by all their Void Wardens within 8 yards, fully restoring their health and reducing all damage they take by 99%. So, this is definitely a wall mechanic, and this is like punishing if you kill the wrong one. So if you kill the wrong one, in a sense of like, we have a path out, now we don't, like, or we have to cross through debris or something like that. Spawns adds 2 DPS down. Spawn adds DPS down. Spawns a line of adds to DPS down. Similar to Shadow Moon, Burial Ground. Dungeon boss, and there's Zul. Did I even spell it right? Warlord's Draenor. And there's Zul. Ritual of Bones. Cool. So we'd have to assume that we got a couple of these lines now. So probably something like this. Well, actually these are the frontals. So it leaves a debris field afterwards, so you'd say something like you've had a couple now before it does that mechanic. And let's put text in there, so we'll say debris fields there. Debris field. And then do we have that looks good. And then we draw arrows headed this way. Conqueror's Cross spawns a line of ads DPS down, similar to Dungeon Boss Nazul. Focus down 1 to make an opening. Only can kill one. Can kill one. Well, you could kill multiple. What if it's both sides? That'd be pretty crazy. What's the... It's like 8 yards or something? Eight yards. Yeah. Focus down 1 to make an opening, and then upon death, shields other wardens in 8 yards for 99% DR damage reduction. I think that makes sense. So this is the side, Conqueror's Cross, Death Debris Field, yep, looks good. Then you have the Paragoth, which is the same thing, but it just does, I think... I'm guessing this is baited. If this one's baited like this... Or maybe not. At players in front of him. It's baited in front. Maybe. Hard to say. Yeah, I heard the same thing. Frost is definitely cooked, that's for sure. Frost is definitely cooked. Okay, so we'll go phase 2. We'll go the Paragoth side. He's still gonna do Conqueror's Cross. I will just remove this. With no success. Yeah, of course. Fucking delete that. Alright, delete this one. And recreate. Okay. Okay. So we have Stardust here, which is the only difference in this mechanic. All right, so let's do, this will be Paragoth side. Paragoth here, Conqueror's Cross, spawn a line of ads. We haven't got that done. That's the same thing. So Stardust, Stardust Nova. It seems like it should be able to be baited, but if the other guy's going to be baited, I would assume it'd be something like this. Do we know how big debris fields are? Reduces their movement speed by 50%. I felt like this was 70% for this one. No, 50%. Is Mythic different? Is that where I saw that? 70%. Could be needed. Maybe it's needed for when Dimensius does this basically push, you know, kind of like Razageth wins or something like that. Maybe you need to stand in a debris field to slow you down. It could be. Let me add that, just so I don't forget. Debris fields could be used to counter Dimensius push. I'll say it's push. Okay, Stardust Nova. Oh, this is still Mythic. Gotta be careful what I'm looking at. Yeah, no shit. Just Death's Advance, yeah. I'd be like, oh, why did everybody fall off? Yeah, not my fault. Okay, so we got Stardust Nova here. My assumption would be it'd be baited. These would be baited around players. You'd probably stack. Assumption. I just can't assume that it's putting random debris fields wherever you want. I'm assuming they're going to want you to be able to control where your debris fields are. So I would assume if the other one is to players in front of them, he does superheated mass at player's location in a line in front of him. So it might even be targeted. It might even be like Cauldron of Carnage beam. I doubt that as well, but maybe it can just pick a player to. So if a player was over here, you know, there's a 75% chance it goes this way, the beam goes this way, but a 25% chance the beam goes that way and leaves a debris field over here, which you don't want. I would assume the same thing for the Stardust assumption. Assumption players can bait. You'd want probably a stack towards middle, outside, and rotate around. Deal with Conqueror's Wall, Conqueror's Cross as well. So very similar, just this one. They can bait, large AoE circle, aerial AoE circle, stay out of it, and it leaves debris field. Stay out of it, leaves debris field after. So you'd say something like, probably something like this. And then just rotate around, very similar to the other one. Frontal's in front of the room, debris fields get left over, and then Phalanx comes across, so. It's so interesting, I don't know. This Touch of Oblivion's very interesting. How they're gonna deal with that? I guess we'll see. Okay, Oblivion. Dimensius easily devours any players who enters his body. Yep, it's easy. Okay, let's look at. Okay, Cosmic Radiation doesn't matter, just AoE damage. Fist of the Void Lord doesn't matter, it's the same as the first phase. So you have those two. Void Grasp. Dimensius wraps space around him random players, introducing their movement speed between inflicting. Okay, so at least you can, you know, look at this, a lot of mechanics, you can at least cut off 4 of them. This is just a spot heal. Fist of the Void Lord, your tanks already know how to deal with from phase 1, and Cosmic Radiation is just overall AoE damage, and Oblivion is that you just get killed if you get sucked in. So that leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mechanics. Okay, Devour is probably the same. You still need to deal with your gravity wells. Upon reaching 100 dimensions, increases in density. Okay, let's do it. Oh, 50%. Wonder if touches negated by spell or AMS. That's what I had said earlier too. It's like Ego Check from Gallywix. Ego Checks from Gallywix, you can here, let me see 1 second here. Let me go to Mythic. I was looking at the exact verbiage for Ego Check. As a Brewmaster, you can Celestial Brew, and it won't apply the stacks to you. So it says here, you know, target struck by Gallywix Ego Check continually suffer the unmitigated damage as physical. This affects stacks. So usually you get like 4 stacks, but if you Celestial Brew it, it doesn't apply any stacks at all. So I wonder the same thing that, you know, I think this intermission, you know, I was talking and saying that like each like boss or adds hits are like, let's say they auto every 2 seconds, right? Or they auto every even 3 seconds. You know, on Mythic it's 10 applications, on Heroic it's 15 applications of their melees. So it's like, that means that you either have to split, if you're splitting the groups, and this feels like too high of an application amount to be a taunt swap. Like it feels like if it reached 5, that would be a taunt swap. That would lead me that you would need to have both the tanks on the same side. 15 stacks has me saying that like there's got to be a way to like split the groups, deal with the mechanic. 15 is just a really high number. That doesn't seem like a normal taunt swap unless his attacks are extremely fast. Then you would go to both platforms, but then I think the phase becomes too long, and the fight overall becomes too long. So I don't think it'll be that. So I think there will be ways that you have to potential where, you know, but those are it would be chance, and I don't think for progression you would want chances. You know, darkness isn't 100% chance that you would, you know, dodge, but anything to increase your parry chance would allow you to, you know, I think Blood Dead and BDK, their parry chance would be pretty high with Dancing Rune Weapon. If it hits a Celestial Brew shield, is that considered a successful attack? Probably not. I would still consider that a successful attack. It's just dealing damage, but you know, Ringing Ritual of Mud also doesn't apply the Gallywix stacks. So, you know, would it attacking a shield, is that considered successful or not? So does this trinket negate that? You know, but with, you know, Brewmaster only 3% parry, you know, it could be, maybe it's not a good boss for it. Dodge though. Elusive Brawler though, you would get less stacks basically with your Elusive Brawler. You would dodge and parry some attacks, so your stacks would be lower. This would ramp up the time that you could have in this intermission, but it'll be interesting. It'll be definitely interesting. Whoever has high parry chances and high dodge chances, because yeah, I mean, Elusive Brawler, Brawler. I think it's just actually a passive. Elusive Brawler. Yeah, anyways. It'll be interesting to see. Alright, let's close all these up actually. We're done here. We're done in the intermission. Okay. Stage 2's done. Intermission's done. Stage 1 is done. Okay. 50% though, this is interesting. This used to be 200% and then 100%, and now it's only 50. What about Mythic? Okay, Mythic is still 100. What about normal? 50? Raid Finder. There we go. We got to know that Raid Finder mechanic. All right. I think that's good. Okay, so we create another one, and then we go to the heart, and then we'll delete this, and then we'll do phase 3. Phase 3 here, and we fight Dimensius again, so we'll pull Dimensius into the middle. This fight's gonna be so cool. Okay. Sounds like a difficult and range phase, so you'd probably lust here. So let's do 50% damage amp at start of phase. Possibly lust. I'll just look that off. Okay. Radiating damage over time. Fists of the Void Lord from phase 1, still for tanks. And then Void Grasp. Dot on random players. Spot heal. At least we can kind of get some notes out of the way here. So that deals with Oblivion, Destabilized, these mechanics. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, you can get rid of this mechanic too. That's good. So you can just say Void Zone on outer ring that Void Zone on the outer ring that I'd just say similar to Raz. Similar to Razagath. Soft and Rage. Yeah, your Soft and Rage mechanic there. Yeah, I mean, when you open up stage 3 here and you like look at all these mechanics, it's like, holy shit, it's like, how do you even deal with any of this? But then you've taken off Void Grass, Fist of the Void Lord, Cosmic, you've taken away these 3, and you've taken away these 3 at the top. So you've taken away 6 mechanics. That leaves you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, actually, 5. Supernova. No, okay. Extinguish the stars. Okay, let's look at this. Okay. So the first thing is that he's going to call 8 Void Stars down around him over 10 seconds, each inflicting 2.9 million damage to all players plus an additional. So 8 times 3 is 24 million around him over 10 seconds. Okay, so they're going to spawn at random times, and I'm guessing in random locations. So spawns 8 Void Stars over 10 seconds. You could say 30 million damage over. I don't really need to talk about damage. You can just plan big healing cooldowns here. This might be even a stack point here. And this is going to be right at the start of the fight. So right at the start of the phase 2, he's going to do this after he gets attacked by Xalatath and us, and then he recovers from it. This will be the first mechanic he does. Dodge the circles of where they spawn. Stars will orbit him similar to Nexus King. Phase 3. Okay, so Dimensius calls 8 Void Stars around him. The Void Stars. Okay, Void Stars project a gravity well that inflicts every 1 second to players within 4 yards and reduce their movement speed to 30. Dimensius cannot devour players affected by a gravity well. That's also your Soft and Rage. It doesn't seem like there's any restrictions as to how many players, so you just get 8 stars and you have to kill him before 8 stars. I wonder if he's going to devour more often. That would be my guess. stars are used for gravity well similar to phase 1. Each time he casts Devour, you'll stack in a star. Now I know the stars turn into black holes, but okay, you'll stack in a star. Okay, let's look at, he does Devour, which is normal. Ooh, maybe you won't. Okay. Upon reaching 100 energy, Dimensius increases his density, creating a powerful inward force that inflicts this amount of damage every one for 5 seconds. I should probably say every 1 second for 5 second pulls in players, void star black holes, and accretion disks. After 5 seconds, any player outside of a void star's gravity well is immediately pulled into Dimensius and consigned to the oblivion. And then this increases the stacks of cosmic radiation. So he pulls in void stars, black holes, and accretion. So aren't these void stars? Okay, let's read a little bit more. Yeah, as people said, this is like the desausage mechanic. Yep, that's fine. We'll look at that later. That's interesting. He's going to do 8 void stars, and then he's going to devour. And he sucks in the void stars. So does he do extinguish the stars? He calls down 8. Eight void stars. He calls down 8 of them. And maybe that's where you can only put so many players next to a void star. That could be it. So you need to use like all 8. Let's say you could have a maximum of 5 players per star. If you did 4, that would be 32. You could do 4 players. That would cover all raid sizes. And then he sucks them in. He initiates the death of a void star, causing it to explode after 5 seconds, inflicting... That doesn't make sense. I don't think you'd use all 8. Because in a rotation, he initiates the death of a void star. So you have your void stars up here. Your void stars up here. They spawn. I feel like you're just going to get 8 of them in the whole phase. That's it. This doesn't make sense. He's inward force inflicts and pulls in players, void stars, black holes, and accretion disk. Maybe he only can pull them in so far. Maybe there's closer ones versus farther ones, so you have to play to the close ones versus the further ones. That could be it. That could be it. You stack the whole group. You know, well, no, because the ring is collapsing out on the outside. So since the ring is collapsing on the outside, and you're getting restricted, that's confusing. That he's pulling in the void stars. Maybe not. If you had void stars on the outer ring and he pulls them into the middle ring, that's probably it. That's probably it. So, okay, he'll suck in stars, black holes, players. Okay. Okay, so you would say, let's draw this picture. Let's make 8 void stars. I think what'll happen is this is 1. You'd say maybe 4 layers. Let's say 1 is here, 1 is here, then another layer of 1 is here, 1 is here, and then you have 1 is here, 1 is here, and then you're going to have some that are close. So almost like on rings. So these are on the inner ring. These are on like a tier 2 ring, these are on like a tier 3 ring, and these are on a tier 4 ring. I should color all of these. Void Star looks like that, sure. Yep, outer ring. A tier 2 ring, and then inner ring. Guessing players playing it the majority of the time in here. That kind of makes sense. So he calls down the 8 void stars. He spawns them over, okay, spawns the void, 8 stars. Upon reaching 100 energy, he does that, sure. So that's done, that's done. We've got the gravity well, we know how to deal with that. Dimensius calls down a series of massive celestial objects that collide with the ground, one after another, impacting each impact 30%. Triggers a shockwave. Okay, well, that's the last mechanic we're going to write down. Cosmic collapse. Collapses space itself, intending to crush his target. Honestly, just tank mechanic, and tanks just need to stay away from people. The force of the attack pulls all players up to 20 yards towards the impact location. Could be important. What if you use Cosmic Collapse to get through the shockwave? I don't think that would work though. It doesn't sound like it would work, at least. It would be an interesting and complicated mechanic, especially for heroic here. We only have 3 mechanics left. It doesn't really say how these void stars explode. That's a lot of damage. 8.3 million did shadow damage to players within 5 yards of the impact location. That's a lot of damage. Okay. I wonder if he also targets some of the black hole or the void stars and he kills them. He just initiates the death of a void star. That's what this makes it sound like. He's gonna cut some of them off. So each rotation you lose 2 stars. So you do this dance 4 times basically. That's what it makes it sound like. I can actually collapse that one there. And I'll put in here. We've got the void stars spawned, so let's just say Dimensius will target void stars and kill them. When killed, turn into a black hole, continue to dodge. If touching a black hole, instantly dead. So you would just say like out of the 8, if he made this one into a black hole, you know, it's going to continue to orbit, and you have to dodge this one specifically. These ones will just do damage to you. This one would instantly kill you. He's going to suck this one in too, so this would make me believe that you would not want to be between Dimensius and this one as he sucks this one in. So, did we talk about Devourer? Each time he'll suck in stars, black holes, players. Yep, and you just deal with those stars, okay. So that mechanic is done. Supernova's done. This is a heroic mechanic. Well, now, okay, think about it. Does he do this on normal? He does this Quake on normal. If this was to get you through it, you'd have to do it on normal too. If the tank mechanic was used to collapse players and pull them in, you'd have to do it on normal too. There's just no way. Although 100%, but that's not how the mechanic would work. They intentionally want you to just continue to take the increased damage from there. So this is just tank mechanic, and I think the cosmic collapse, tanks want to just be away from the group. Big AoE, basically tank hit, soak, and I don't think you split anything. The numbers are too low, you don't split. You don't want anybody within 12 yards. They apply Cosmic Fragility, increases Cosmic damage by 150%. You don't want this on other players. You don't want that on DPS or healers. In Heroic and Mythic, the force of the attack pulls all players up to 20 yards towards the impact location. I'm just trying to think if there's anything useful where you would want to get pulled. You want to be between that 13 to 20 yard range. You want to be right on the edge of it. And it pulls you. Faster way to get around the platform, but I mean, I don't really see. I don't know. If it did it on normal too, maybe. But since it doesn't do it on normal, I mean, I just don't think that this mechanic is going to be used to get done with Darkened Sky. A series of massive celestial objects. This would be probably 3 to 4 of them, is my guess. A shadow quake, a tremendous shockwave of energy that radiates outward with impact, inflicting 3.1 million damage to players on contact, increasing damage taken from shadow quake for 3 seconds. This effect stacks. This might be as simple as just being close to the quake, but with how big this platform is, that's like always the question. With how big this platform is, how quickly are you going to be able to get from here to here? I'll just say, you know, here. It's also funny how the models are so small. Let's just say here, here, here. I'll just say group wants to, most likely needs to be 20 plus yards away from tanks. As you could say main tank. I'll be back 1 second. Alright, we're back. Got some water, a little breakfast. Alright, let's take a look here. Okay. Dimensius will target the void stars and kill them when turned. Turn back on, continue to dodge. If touched, the vehicle instantly dead. Group most likely needs to be 20 plus yards away from the main tank. It's a true statement. Okay. And then the last important part is going to be, the last important part will be darkened sky. Most likely if I can spell today, 3 to 4 large circles to dodge. Large expanding circles to dodge. Need to take one at a time. Otherwise, we'll take 300% increased damage for the second soak. So I'll remove the void stars here. So I'll remove the void stars. And you would say something like this. So it'd be like, is there a good way that I can draw this? For increased soaks stacking. It's not really a great way to draw this as a picture. Not really a great way. Just trying to think here. You know, obviously it's growing like this. Yeah, and the tanks need to be within 15 yards of the boss the whole time. This will be, yeah. I don't know. The size of the boss. It's going to be an interesting boss, that's for sure. You could say it's a super small one right there, right? And then you'd say there's a medium size this one. You could even make this one bigger. And then you'd say, okay, this is maybe a little bit less medium. This one's a little bit bigger. Something along this. Cross over the one. And then this would be the next one you want. So maybe you would want to finish over here so that way, you know, and you kite backwards a little bit. Tank should be okay though. Tank shouldn't need to worry about that too much. I can even make this one a little smaller. I can make this one a little bigger. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much Heroic Dimensius. It only took an hour and a half plus everything I did in phase 1. Let's look at the raid plan. Okay. What did I type here? Heroic Dimensius. Sorry, phase 1. Wait, what? Did my thing get fucked up? Oh, you just have to change the platform? Oh. That's kind of shitty, honestly, not gonna lie. Okay. That's fine. Did I do everything here? Let's see. So you do intermission. I kept everything this. You can stay on C for intermission, I think. Yeah, that's fine. And then okay, then in phase 3 you go to the heart. Yeah. Honestly though, you could probably do conquest on this side. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Then you go phase 3. Okay, so phase 1. Okay. I have no idea what he's barking at. Of course. Obviously sees something. Alright. Yeah, I think you stack in the middle at the first part. Deal with the first devour, then split into 2 teams. I think that's what the hands. Did I talk about the hands? Yeah, Shattered Space creates an antimatter zones. This is like with his 2 hands. So that's what makes it you believe that you would start off here, you'd get some debris fields, you do some like some soaks and whatnot, create your gravity fields, and then he does like a left hand attack and a right hand attack. Could just be the way he's facing. Maybe he faces this way and it's a right and a left on this side, and then you're going this way across. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And then the intermission is flying like normal. Land, split the groups. And then in the last phase, yeah. Heroic only. Heroic. So heroic is 50%. It's interesting they've come back so much on that that damage amp, going from 200% down to 100% to now 50% on heroic. So it's very interesting. Heal. I'll do he will stack in, suck in stars, black holes, and players. Okay, good. You just want to stand next to. What's heroic only mechanics though in the last phase? Oh, I could just heroic, cosmic collapse. Okay, so no, that still happens in normal. I just looked at that. Oh, it's a 150% increase, so you still want to do it correctly. Does it do the tank mechanic? Oh, it doesn't do cosmic collapse. So normal. Oh, he does. There's just no suck on heroic. So since there's no suck on heroic, yeah, I just don't think you'd do that. I just don't think you would. Like looking at Gallywix, like, was we normal and heroic? I don't even know what I could think of here that would do anything between normal and heroic, but it's just duds. It's just things like that. Yeah, no suck, no big suck. Yeah, definitely gonna be 1 out of 10. I think that kind of explains it all. I still don't have a great idea of the fight. I mean, I do. I have a general idea, but you know, until you see it, it's just going to be mechanical vomit. And especially for raiders. I mean, somebody that creates a raid plan for it and maybe watches a couple guides and thinks, you know, you think you have a good idea of it. It doesn't matter until you see like the rotation and the how the mechanics spawn and everything. Where DG at? What do you mean by that? It's all about the sequence too, like how things, especially in the last phase, like the last phase, becomes extremely difficult when things overlap. So it's like you're obviously not going to have a Devour cast, most likely cast at the same time that you have to dodge through here. These, darkened sky circles that are expanding, you're most likely not going to have to deal with that. But I think the group will stay together for the most part. Oh, I don't think, honestly, I don't think so. I don't think Death Grip is used at all in this whole raid. I don't think so. It would be here if anything. I think Death Grip is dead. I literally do. I think it's this Conqueror's Cross. Now, you know, there could be something else, but at least here we're looking at Conqueror's Cross. It's a simple. This is just like Ner'zhul, Shadow Moon, Burial Grounds. This, Phalanx. Here's what it reads. So this is what's got me thinking. So we go to stage 2, and we've got the Devoured Lords. They begin their ritual. Sure, they're trying to close it off. So both of them do Conqueror's Cross. The Void Lord summons a phalanx of Void Wardens to secure his territory and restrict player movement. So you would say, okay, does this look like Shadow Moon Barrier Grounds? It could very well look like that. It could just be there's a huge line of them, and but at the same time, I thought that this could be very similar to the Legion raid and Taurus, the Covenant of Shavara. So the Covenant of Shavara had the Torment of the Titans ability, and what this did is, if this was the room here where I'm standing right now, it was much bigger than this, but you would have a line of ads spawn on all 4 corners. So what that ended up doing is they couldn't be damaged for 30 seconds, but they could be CC'd. So for example, you would mass root, let's say this corner. You'd mass root this corner, and this corner then wouldn't move at all. So they were trying to they would slowly move across, and you need to find openings. So you could death grip them, that's one thing you can do, but banish would work. Banish was really good for a singular. So if there was 4 ads here, I'll put down some markers. I don't have markers, that's fine, but if there's an ad here, 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 and here, and you banish this one would stay put. These 3 would walk across, but that would leave an opening for your group to get around here, and then you would be safe, right? So you could say, alright, that's the Phalanx mechanic right here, which was the Torment of Norgorgon. An army of arcane vestiges manifests from Norgorgon's torment. Each inflicts 13k arcane damage every 0.3 seconds to nearby enemies, or nearby players. Now, when you read this, that doesn't tell you how to deal with the mechanic at all. It gives you no idea of, it just says an army of arcane vestiges manifests from Norgorgon. And it's just do we have to damage these? Are these chasing players? It doesn't really make sense. But then when you see the mechanic live, it's okay, it's really just a CC mechanic, and then as soon as they're it doesn't even tell that they're immune to damage for 30 seconds. So that's really interesting. But I don't think it's this, because when you look at the War Within and you go to here and you look at this Conqueror's Cross mechanic, and then you look at the Void Warden, upon death, so that would make sense that you would probably be trying to kill them. Now, you could say that the Normagons, they were killed, but upon death, the Void Warden's energy is absorbed by all other Void Wardens within 8 yards, fully restoring their health and reducing all damage they take by 99%. So if there is a large phalanx of them, a large group of them, like this, you would assume that you will probably only have one clear path where you want to cross. If there's debris fields on this top side, you're probably not going to kill these 3, right? It's not. Do you want to kill in the middle? Probably not. You probably want to kill this one, right? This will give you your path through. Once you kill this one, this is out of the way, and now the whole raid can sneak through while these are coming across. That's what it makes it sound like. And then that last part, the entropic unity, it's going to restore these guys' health to full, and they take 99% reduced damage within the 8 yards. So I would assume that the 2 ads next to it then become immune to damage. Now that doesn't mean that you couldn't kill potentially. But I don't think you'll have time. It's just like in Shadow Moon Burial Ground. You don't have time to kill 2 of them or 3 of them or anything like that. I think that you'll kill just one of them, and then you'll kill. I mean, you probably won't kill another one, but you could, right? So like if you're staying within 8 yards, you'd say these two restore to full health, and they become immune to damage. But you could also kill the middle one if you had like, later in heroic or something like that if you mess up. But I think first day of heroic or first, week, you're not going to have time to kill two. So, but they're not going to be gripped. I mean, I think people thought that this was going to be like maybe a ring of peace mechanic, but as people looked more into it, like a ring of peace or grip, right? Like give yourself, um, you know, room, make yourself room, you're gonna grip these away and give yourself play. I don't think so at all. Or a ring of peace, these adds to the other side. Doesn't say that they're not movable, but the Void Lord summons a phalanx of Void Wards to secure his territory and restrict player movement. The Void Warden exerts control over the area around it, knocking back players who enter and inflicting 8.3 million shadow damage. That just makes it sound like they are headed this way upon death. It just makes it sound like it's just like Shadow Moon Burial Ground. I mean, also a Phalanx. It just, like I said, that's what it makes it definitely sound like. I don't think there's any death grip mechanic there. So, but this guy, the Nullbinder, it will be interesting whether you have to kill him or not. I don't think so. I think he just spawns. The Nullbinder weaves a dark pattern and binds all players with it, inflicting 3.1 million shadow damage plus an additional 1 million shadow damage every 2 seconds for 20 seconds, and reducing their movement speed by 30%. You might have to kill him, actually. Because that's a lot of damage. Might be 2 targets that you need to kill. Maybe it's the melee get on this and a Nullbinder. I'll add that there. That's a good, I guess, a good catch. Nullbinder needs to be killed as well. I would assume that he probably won't have much health. If you're having to target, Nullbinder could be topside or wherever he is. Find the Nullbinder. So, do we have one for Nullbinder? Yes. We'll just say he's right here. I'm sure, the spawns will be generous. They can't make it too difficult, but I'm going to say Nullbinder's up here. Nullbinder. And so both of them do that on both sides, so. I think that sounds good. I think that's a good understanding of the fight, I think, for the most part. Oops, not in the seat, in the heart. Be interesting. Be very interesting to see what this whole fight looks like and how it plays out. And it's been really fun making just theory crafting about it. But yeah, I mean that'll be a big PI and raid. That's fine. Yeah. I guess I kind of thought about the Nullbinder as you were just gonna take the ramping damage, but looking at the numbers, it's too high. You just can't. You're not gonna be able to take that much damage. You're gonna have to kill it. It weaves a dark pattern, binds all players with it, inflicting 3.1 million shadow damage plus an additional 1 million. I mean, looking at the Void Warden here as well, exerts control over the area around it, knocking back players who enter it. So it makes sense that these would have like a big void zone around them. They're heading this way. It makes it, the way it reads, it makes it sound like it's not going to be you can't walk through it. Some people thought these would be like, maybe, I mean, I don't think if the Nullbinder can be gripped, or can it be tanked, or does it just stationary? I kind of envision it just being stationary. I envision this just being stationary, and you just like, all right, I need the range hitting this and the melee hit this once, or everybody swaps to here. Maybe these aren't moving so fast. Maybe you have, 20 seconds. These move pretty slowly across the group. That could be something. But with these guys having an area, like a wall around them, like, you're not going to have a DK run. I mean, maybe. Grip it 2 in front of it. That could be a 2. Off tank picks it. Well, if you're solo tanking each side, I don't know. It'll be interesting, that's for sure. Or, upon death, the Void Warden's energy is absorbed by all other Void Wardens within 8 yards. So is the Nullbinder considered a Void Warden? If he's considered a Void Warden, you wouldn't want to tank him on top of the which I don't think so, because it says all of the Void Wardens, but that would be interesting. Yeah, if they kind of spiral like that. Cut the head off the snake and then it continues down the snake line. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I think this will be probably stationary. It just depends where does it spawn and do you get an ass spawn. Always range hit the nullbinder. Probably not too much health. He only lives for, I mean, he's got to live for about 20 seconds. Well, he could live longer. Every 2 seconds for 20 seconds. And reducing their movement speed by 30%, this effect stacks. I wonder if the movement speed reduction stacks too. That could be really fucked. Maybe it's the whole group gets on the nullbinder. That would probably be more the case. You got to get this, otherwise your movement speed. Oh, okay. It's probably just a cast. You don't kick it, but it's probably like doing a cast. So he weaves a dark pattern. So he'll do it like probably like a 10-second cast or something like that. You get one stack initially, like maybe on spawn, or probably 10 seconds to do it. You get one stack, you get 30% reduced movement speed, and then you're taking big damage. And then again, he does it again. Now you're taking 2 stacks, now you have 60% movement speed. So you really can't have that 60% movement reduction speed for 60 or for 20 seconds. That's pretty large. So yeah, it would just be probably focus the nullbinder, then deal with the phalanx, get through, and then continue on all the mechanics. This will probably be a pretty difficult phase overall. I mean, you've got Dimensius pushing you from one side. You have to dodge planets. Dodge the planet. Now you have 30% reduced, yeah, 60% reduced movement speed. I do think possibly you're going to be half and half. I do think you'll probably split the groups as far as like the overall platform, but I think you already have a split group. So you have like, let's say a rate of 25, you only got 12 players. You got 2 healers, 1 tank, you got 9 DPS. So it makes sense that you probably would just put everybody on the nullbinder first. So you can't get 2 stacks of this debuff. You can't get 60% movement reduction speed. That is way too much. 60% movement reduction speed for 20, that's insane. You'd be so fucking slow. You'd be so slow. Then Dimensius hurls a planet across the whole field, and it's like, oh, that's not good. It could be something like that. I just don't think you can get 2 stacks of this debuff. 60% movement reduction speed? I don't know. That sounds terrible. Again, you're laughing in DK though, so you're like, I don't have any money. I don't have that. Warlock portal, yeah. You only can Warlock portal once though, and then if you make it where like a Warlock portal is required, you could have a Warlock on each side. So now it's not required, but it's like, okay, this makes it extremely easy if you have a Warlock portal for. But then it's like, well, how many planets is he gonna throw at you? He's not gonna just throw one planet. He might throw many. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, theory crafting is kind of interesting here. It sounds like this is gonna be difficult. This sounds like this is gonna be pretty difficult. This part right here. It also seems like these guys dodge a frontal. This seems like more of a melee mechanic. Melee easily dodges the frontal. It's a line. It leaves a debris field after. This sounds like a ranged star that spawns on the Paragoth side, so it almost seems like you'd split range and melee, but unsure. The whole fight seems, again, it's all on timing. It's timings. You know, Denathrius had really nasty overlaps and shit. It was like some parts of the fight were really easy in phase 3. We'll do that for sure. We'll definitely kill Mythic Forge Retriever week 1. Definitely, you can count on it. Definitely not. He just had nasty overlaps. I remember it was the one where he would suck you in. He would suck you in, but then also at the same time you had to use the tank mechanic to grab everybody out or something like that. Like it was definitely interesting and used, you know, obviously those tank mechanics in different parts for Denathrius too.
deal with those nasty overlaps. So, but when you look at the mechanics and you're like, oh, okay, this is what deals with this. This is how you deal with this, and then but all of a sudden, it's even like Gallywix. If Gallywix would have been more difficult from the sense of like nasty overlaps in phase 3, you could make there's a world where you could make phase 3 pretty difficult. You can't see it in the journal, but I don't know. He doesn't really have that many punishment mechanics, but if the overlaps would have been worse, Gallywix could have been tougher. That's what becomes the hardest part when you're dealing with one mechanic every 8 seconds. It's not that difficult, but then once you're dealing with 3 mechanics at the same time, it's kind of like Mug Z. I mean, Mug Z, the toughest part is when you get Frost Shatter Boots into jails. After that, trying to deal with your Frost Shatter Boots, clear your Frost Shatter Boots, get behind a mine, and get into your jail. That's why everybody wipes right there. It's the toughest. It's one of the tougher parts of the fight. So making sure that you don't hit a mine and getting back in time to get into your soak. So definitely some difficulty there, but I'm trying to think of other fights that are like that. They kind of have those nasty overlaps. It's usually just the penultimate bosses or the last boss. Soaking Court. It had some overlap that was difficult. Smolderon was pretty straightforward. Tindril, not so much. Tindril had some. Tindril had some for sure. Stage 3. It would be like different times you had to soak seeds. Even in stage 2, you had to soak seeds. Soak seeds into like mass entanglement into fiery growth. Like reading this, if you didn't know how this was going to play out, you didn't test it. It was like you got mass entanglement was cast, so everybody was rooted, and you had to kill the roots, and then like fiery growth spawned like 3 seconds after. I didn't raid Sanctum of Domination, Ring Boss. You talking about DeSausage? I know they've compared this boss to DeSausage quite a bit. Where is DeSausage? Oh no, that was Sanctum. Our Sepulchre Ring Boss. I don't even know which one the Ring Boss is. I didn't raid this tier. Rated it on LFR. But yeah, that's good. I think that's a pretty good start for Dimensius. Got an idea. Need to see some videos when they come out for the normal and heroics. I don't think we're gonna do even normal. We're not even gonna do normal on the first raid day. I think we're just gonna skip it. Give players more time so they come in Friday and they'll be able to have a better idea of this fight, so we can hopefully one-shot at it normal. But give us more time in heroic. Yeah, it should be good. Make a video on this one and I'll post that. So thanks for tuning in. I will catch you